What if I told you that one of the greatest dynasties in MLB history never won anything? Sounds impossible, right? Yet, that was the fate of the 1990s Cleveland Indians. They had the greatest offense ever assembled, numerous Hall of Famers, and had one of the highest payrolls in MLB. But every single year, they fell short. So what happened? Why do some players believe they were robbed of 2 World Series titles? And why does their star player hold one man accountable for their failure?
John Hart screwed up our dynasty after the 95 season.
Well, in order to uncover the true reason, our story must start with their improbable rise. Since their World Series championship in 1948, the Cleveland Indians sank to the depths of the majors, managing just one playoff appearance over the next 47 years. During this stretch, the franchise was plagued by constant managerial and front office turnover, a seemingly endless string of losing seasons, and dwindling fan support. In fact, by the 80s, their 75,000-seat stadium rarely hosted more than 10,000 fans, therefore garnering the nickname the Mistake by the Lake. But perhaps the biggest mistake was made by Sports Illustrated ahead of the 1987 season. In spring training, they posted a headline stating, "Indian Uprising. Believe it, Cleveland is the best team in the American League." At this time, the Indians didn't receive much national attention, so when Sports Illustrated picked them to win the pennant, it made fans excited to witness their first successful team in decades. Although what ensued was yet another disastrous campaign, finishing with 101 losses, the most in baseball. There was no argument, the Indians had become the textbook example of a franchise stuck in purgatory. They had no direction, no fan support, and no success. Their futility even inspired the 1989 movie Major League, which in an alternate universe depicted them as a team that accidentally found success. And while the film painted them as an unserious franchise, it helped ignite a newfound spark around the team, boosting Indians merchandise sales across the country, making them relevant in pop culture for the first time in a generation, and getting Clevelanders excited about what a winning team could look like. And thankfully for them, the wheels to their next contention window were finally in motion. In 1986, Dick Jacobs and his brother purchased the club, vowing to invest in its future, build a new stadium, and most importantly, bring winning baseball back to Cleveland. In order to achieve these hefty goals, their first order of business was to revamp the front office with modern, forward-thinking executives. To lead this transformation, Jacobs turned to John Hart, a highly respected baseball mind who had built a reputation with the Baltimore Orioles as a sharp talent evaluator and innovative thinker. And right away, these skills became apparent, as he brought in multiple key players into the organization. Through the draft, he selected future Hall of Famers Jim Thome and Manny Ramirez. But some of his most impactful work actually came via the trade market. In 1989, he helped orchestrate a deal that sent Joe Carter to the San Diego Padres in exchange for future Rookie of the Year and All-Star Sandy Alomar Jr., as well as another future All-Star Carlos Baerga. Just 2 years later, he acquired Kenny Lofton, an undervalued speedster buried on Houston's depth chart. Then, in 1992, with pitching depth wearing thin, he took a chance on Jose Mesa, a high upside arm who had yet to find consistency at the majors. And finally, to round out his trading spree, he acquired slick fielding shortstop Omar Vizquel ahead of 1994. Through these moves, alongside free agent acquisitions Eddie Murray and Dennis Martinez, the roster was finally starting to take shape, and it was one Hart was optimistic about.
Our ball club projects to have an impact player at every position.
It just so happened that their rise to contention coincided with the opening of their brand new ballpark.
As all of Cleveland is hoping that 1994 is over the plate. Brave new world for the Cleveland Indians. Time to play ball. The Mariners and the Indians from Jacobs Field in a moment.
When Jacobs Field opened its doors in 1994, it was one of the proudest days in franchise history. But the excitement soon turned sour once Randy Johnson took the hill.
Breaking ball over for strike 3. Good pitch, throws Baerga. 1 out in the 7th.
Inning after inning, Johnson was untouchable on the mound, starting the game with 7 no-hit frames. With just 6 outs remaining, an opening day defeat of this magnitude would be a disastrous way to begin what was supposed to be a special season. But when hope was dwindling, Alomar fought off Johnson's 1-2 offering into right field.
There it is, base hit to right. Alomar is aboard, and the Indians have their first safety against Randy Johnson.
With his single, the seal was finally broken.
Wild pitch. Runners move up into scoring position.
Now, with 2 runners in scoring position, the table was set for Manny.
And now the fans become involved for the first time since the first inning. Rip to left. Back it goes. Back goes Anthony. It's off the wall. 1 run scores. 2 runs score. Ramirez in at second. We're tied at 2.
With Johnson dealing late into the game, the Indians' chances were wearing thin. But with this game-tying double, the sold-out crowd started to believe.
Kitty in the Hotel California getting ready. Eddie Murray sends it deep to center. Back goes Griffey. Back. It's off the wall. Murray around first into second base where he'll win a double.
Following an intentional walk and defensive indifference to move Alomar up to second, Wayne Kirby stepped up to the plate with a chance to play hero.
Base hit down the left field line. The Indians have won it. Wayne Kirby has made the debut of Jacobs Field complete and maybe officially the beginning of a new era here in Cleveland.
Runner goes. Pop foul back at the plate. Here comes Alomar. Leaping, and he holds.
Lofton on the run in left center. Makes the play, spins, and throws all the way back to first. They got a double. A 3-way tie. But let's see what happens here. Way up. Good night from Cleveland. And the Tribe has swept Toronto.
After a slow 14-17 start to the year, the offense caught fire from May 13th onward, catapulting them towards success by scoring the most runs and mashing the most homers, bringing them within 1 game of the division lead on August 10th. With still plenty of season left to play, the title was in their sights. However, when things were finally starting to break right for the franchise, all of their hard work was flushed away.
Well, it is now official. No more regular season, no extended version of the playoffs, and for the first time since 1904, no World Series.
The strike killed the greatest Indians team since the 50s, but it gave the city of Cleveland a peek of what was possible with its new owner, front office, and group of players. So when opening day rolled around the following season, fans packed the stadium once again, and the players picked up right where they left off from. This Indians team was elite, and they knew it, carrying a unique flair wherever they went, and living by one song all season long.
This is how we do it.
Well hit to right center field. Back is Tinsley to the warning track, to the wall. It's gone. Home run, and the Indians win. August 31st. Albert Bell, way up, and at the stroke of midnight, say goodnight for Cleveland. Line to center field. Back is Edmonds to the warning track, to the wall. It's gone. A grand slam home run. The magic continues. The Indians win.
Throughout the 95 campaign, This Is How We Do It lived as the team's anthem. They played it before games, after wins, and fans sang it in the bleachers, as they watched one of the greatest offenses ever assembled torture their opposition.
It is. Number 50 for Bell. To the right side, and there it is. Eddie Murray is the 20th man to get 3,000 hits in the major league.
Well, the outfield is pulled in as well. Medium depth in right field. Everybody else is shallow.
Base hit. That's going to do it. The Indians go to 13-0 in extra innings. Well, when you're hot, you're hot.
Throughout the year, this offense was far and away the most dangerous. Kenny Lofton set the table as the leadoff man. Albert Bell produced the only 50-double, 50-homer season in MLB history, and elite sluggers Jim Thome and Manny Ramirez were forced to bat in the bottom half of the lineup. With an offense like that, it's no wonder they found success. But that's not to say their pitching staff didn't hold their own. Their .383 team ERA ranked 3rd best in the majors. Jose Mesa saved 46 out of 47 games. and the three of Dennis Martinez, Orel Hershiser, and Chad Oj formed a solid trio at the front of their rotation. So with dominance on both sides of the ball, it's no shock this team ran away with the division after posting the MLB best 100 wins.
In the air, Toby at third, and this season of dreams has become a reality. Cleveland, you will have an October to remember.
For the first time since 1954, the Indians were division champions, and the city was loving every aspect of it. Before Game 1 of the division series, fans packed the stadium just to watch the team work out. But they deserved this moment. Their beloved Indians were finally playoff bound. Entering October, they were the big dogs. But to claim the biggest bone, they'd still have to prove they were top of the pack. Their first test would be the Boston Red Sox, a heavy-hitting group with a pitching staff that boasted a few strong arms such as Tim Wakefield, Rick Aguilera, and Game 1 starter Roger Clemens. He had a difficult regular season marred by a shoulder injury, but from the first pitch, the Rocket was ready for liftoff.
Called strike three. Clemens works. Called strike three. Fastball blew it by him. Through 5, it's still 2-0.
To start the game, Clemens sat down 9 batters in a row and limited damage once runners reached base. But with 2 outs in the 6th, the Indians' bats finally started to figure him out.
The runner going and a bouncing ball toward the vacated hole. Vizquel rounds second. They'll have runners at the corners with 2 out.
With runners on the corners, the moment was Bell's for the taking.
The 0-1 pitch is slammed toward the gap in left center field. And this ball short hops the wall. 1 run is home. Viagra's being waved home. Here's the throw toward the plate. It is not in time.
As he had been all year, Bell was a driving force behind the offense. And on the very next pitch, Murray kept the rally going.
The hole and Bell trots home. And the Indians are in front 3-2.
After having barely a lick of offense through 5 innings, the Indians jumped ahead with their 2-out rally. But as the game turned over to the bullpen, their lead was soon vanquished.
The rain is held off until now. Here's a drive to right field, and this one could tie the game. Alicea on the 3-2 pitch sends one into the bullpen for 3 with a sacrifice. And here's a drive to deep left. This ball is on its way and gone. And they take the lead 4-3.
Following Luis Alicea's homer to tie it and Tim Naring's homer to take the lead, the Indians had to play from behind yet again. But there was still hope as Bell led off against Aguilera. For the season, he already had an at-bat against him, a solo shot to deep left center. Aware of that, Aguilera kept his pitches low and away, only for Bell to spoil each of them.
The 2-2. And we'll do it again. And got a piece of it. This is a tough pitch by Aguilera. That's a breaking ball down low and away. Look where that pitch is.
He knew Aguilera wanted to remain on the outside corner. That's why on the 7th pitch, he stayed ready.
And the 2-2. Here's a smash to deep left. This ball game is tied. They have taken Albert Bell's bat. You remember he was suspended after a corked bat incident last year.
Bell ran into trouble the previous season with a corked bat, but this time he came clean and showed the Sox's dugout exactly how he sent the ball over the fence.
And there's the reason Albert Bell says I hit the home run, right there.
With his homer, the game remained level through the 11th inning and even into the 13th, until the unlikeliest of heroes stepped up to the plate.
I'm saying, when I was active, oh man, Tony Pena on 3-0 sends everybody home. What a night for Pena. What a night for the Indians, and a tough night for the Red Sox.
In a 3-0 count, most assumed the backup catcher, the one who hit 5 home runs in 263 regular season at-bats, would be taking all the way. But he gave himself the green light and unloaded on Zane Smith's offering, launching the ball over the fence in left center to give the Indians the edge in the series. And from this moment on, they never let up their lead.
Ball to left center field. Albert Bell in and calling for it. The guys are already coming out of the Cleveland dugout, and the Cleveland Indians will advance.
Their divisional round victory was a monumental moment in Indians history, but the locker room understood there were bigger and better things to achieve.
I'm enjoying this one, but I think this locker room is pretty subdued because it has a mission, and it realizes that we really haven't won anything yet. that we've gotten over the hump of dealing with playoff pressure, and we performed under it, and now we have to go to the next level.
Well, their next challenge would come against the Seattle Mariners, a team headed by a strong pitching staff. But early in Game 1, it was their defense which stole the show.
He tries one, beautiful stuff by Corey,
To start the game, the Indians loaded the bases with 3 straight walks, but came up empty thanks in large part to Joey Cora's impressive play at second base, allowing the Mariners to take a narrow 1-run victory in Game 1. The Western Division winners may have won 21 fewer games during the regular season, but their Game 1 performance showed just how evenly matched this series would be.
Hits a homer. A drive to right center field. Ramirez going back, but all he can do is watch. It's gone for Buhner's second home run of the night. Leading it 4-0. The runner going, and Tomey with a drive the opposite way. This one is on its way and out of here.
Back and forth the two sides went, trading victories through the first 4, and it was looking to continue this way in Game 5, as the Mariners took a 2-1 lead entering the bottom of the 6th, before up stepped the hot Jim Tomey with a runner on.
The 2-0. A long drive to right, and tell it goodbye.
No doubt about that one. And the Indians have the lead now at 3-2.
With one swing of the bat, the Indians leapfrogged the Mariners to take control of the series, and they never looked back.
Buhner grounds one to third. A long throw is in time. And the Cleveland Indians, after a 41-year wait, are in the World Series.
They were headed to the World Series, and Indians fans couldn't believe it. So when the team plane landed in Cleveland at 5 a.m. the next morning, 10,000 fans greeted the players and coaches to show their support. They thought it was finally their time. Major newspapers even predicted them to take home the title. But early on, it was all Atlanta.
And he launches one to deep right field. She's gone to tie it.
A throw in to first base, and they got him.
And that's line to right field and backing up and making the catch is justice. With the crowd in a frenzy, and he stills them in Cleveland.
The feared quadruple of Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, John Smoltz, and Steve Avery limited the Indians' elite sluggers to just 14 runs in the opening 4 contests to take a 3-1 advantage. And things weren't going to get any easier with Maddux slated to pitch Game 5. But playing at home for the final time, they gave their fans a sliver of hope.
And he hits it in the air down the right field line and into the corner, and just like last night,
Bell opened the scoring early on Maddux, and they continued to pile it on in the 6th.
and it's lined back through the middle to give the Indians the lead. Back through the middle, and that one's hit into right field to make it 4-2 by Ramirez.
With Hershiser dealing 5 runs was just enough to force Game 6.
Oral Hershiser, Jim Tomey, Albert Bell, and all the rest going back to Atlanta for a Game 6.
With their victory, they may have swayed the momentum in their favor. However, their backs were still against the wall as they faced Tom Glavine on the mound. It was going to be a tall task to defeat the future Hall of Famer on its own, but the job became exponentially harder with umpire Joe Brinkman's generous strike zone.
Ball, try and hit it.
See Eddie Murray talking to Joe Brinkman. He was not happy with that call.
With Glavine getting the majority of calls, it flustered the Indians' hitters as they tried to cover the entirety of the plate and then some. Therefore, it's no surprise that they managed just 1 hit the entire night as the Braves clinched the series.
On the run, the team of the 90s has its world championship.
With the Indians' pitchers combining to allow only 1 run, many felt as though the strike zone was the sole reason they lost in that game.
The umpire decided home plate was 26 inches wide, not 17.
Our players kept going, the strike zone's too big, the strike zone's too big.
We can't hit that pitch, it's too far outside.
Unfortunately though, there could be no appeal. The Braves won the series, and the Indians had to live with that fact. So they headed home. disappointed after coming up only 2 wins short. But to honor the memories and the team's effort, the city of Cleveland still held a parade. This just showed how grateful the city was to have a winning team back in Cleveland. Plus, with the same group of guys under contract for years to come, they believed this was only the start. However, the following years were filled with drama, star players leaving on bad terms, and more losing. So what happened? But first, a quick word for today's sponsor, Delete Me. Did you know that your personal data is probably being sold to data brokers at this very moment? That's right, through government public records, social media accounts, and other data brokers, they combine all information accessible to build a portfolio of you to sell, meaning anyone can find your home address, where you work, or even worse, steal your identity. This is where Delete Me comes in. After signing up, they scan through hundreds of data broker sites to find listings with your personal info, submit opt-out requests for you, and gives you reports showing which sites had your info and proof it was removed. In my case, they reviewed 537 total listings across 99 different data broker sites. That's why I personally choose Delete Me to help keep my personal information from getting in the wrong hands. And if you would like Delete Me to remove your personal information off hundreds of data broker sites, then head on over to joindeleteme.com/greenlight and use promo code GREENLIGHT for 20% off. That's joindeleteme.com/greenlight, promo code GREENLIGHT for 20% off. Alright, thank you again Delete Me for sponsoring today's video. Now back to Cleveland. Entering the 1996 season, the team had their eyes set on righting their wrong. Most analysts believed this was likely, predicting them to win it all in spring training. And right out of the gate, their offense showed exactly why.
Back and scored. Drive deep left field. Way back. This one is up. This one is gone, and the Indians win it in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Easy now for Jim. Drives it to right field. Forget about it. Way out of here on a Tommy bomb.
There's a drive deep left field. If it stays fair, it does. It's gone. The Indians win. Albert Bell in the bottom of the 9th inning, a grand slam home run.
Bell stayed mashing, Tommy and Manny continued to develop, and Lofton kept up his base-stealing ways. But there were 2 players whose production dipped tremendously, the first being Carlos Baerga. After coming over from the Padres 7 years prior, he became a steady hand at second base with a bat that produced sneaky power. In 1996 though, he regressed in all facets, so Hart reluctantly shipped him off to the New York Mets. And another key veteran who struggled to perform that season was Eddie Murray. At 40 years old, Father Time was bound to show up, zapping both his speed and power. So Hart responded by trading him away. As you would expect, the backlash from these deals was immense. The media was stunned, emphasizing how much Baerga embodied the team, and his departure left everyone's hearts broken. Not to mention, Murray's deal also upset his former teammates, with many quick to say they didn't like the move. Yet, through all the controversy they faced at the trade deadline, the team continued to play winning baseball, finishing the season with the most wins and another division title.
The Cleveland Indians clinch the American League Central Division Championship.
Entering the playoffs for the 2nd straight season, manager Mike Hargrove was confident in his group, and Tommy had sky-high expectations. But in order to have another shot in the World Series, they would have to first go through Murray and the Orioles. Now given the opportunity, the future Hall of Famer wanted nothing more than to beat the team that gave up on him. And while he would go on to hit .400 during the series, it was his teammates who stole the show.
Over the trade, they moved into left field. There's a drive into deep right center field. This one headed for the bleachers. 2-1 Baltimore they go. A high fly ball headed for Utah Street. It's a grand slam. Surhoff drives one deep toward the center field bleachers. Another home run. His 2nd of the game. The Orioles 4th as a team.
During the regular season, the Orioles led baseball with 257 homers. And in the divisional round, they carried over their mashing ways to blow past the Indians.
His final game as a Cleveland Indian. Strike 3. The ball game is over. The Orioles have won the divisional series against the Cleveland Indians.
After their crushing playoff exit, the team continued to look more and more distant from their pennant-winning squad.
All I ever wanted was a chance to play Major League Baseball, and the Indians gave me that opportunity. It was unfortunate things didn't work out, and I'm just moving forward, and I'm looking forward to bigger and better things.
Bell was one of the greatest players to ever don the Indians jersey, but his hot-headed attitude and money demands became too much to bear for the club, and he wasn't the only one saying his goodbyes. Lofton, a fan favorite, was entering his final year of club control and decided to wait until after the season to discuss an extension, leaving the front office no choice but to trade him less than a week before opening day.
Kenny Lofton made it very clear he wanted to go out onto the market, and the Cleveland Indians were not prepared to allow that to happen, and we come up with nothing.
This came as a complete blindside to Lofton.
Wow. I mean, my heart just dropped to the floor. We were right there. We was expecting to have the same exact team with a little added to help us, not subtract things from us.
For a smaller market team, they couldn't lose him for nothing. But with numerous key members gone, the team struggled to find its identity. And as the season matured, they failed to put together win streaks longer than 3, playing close to 500 until late August. With a month left to play and a mere 2.5 game lead atop the division, they needed a spark. Oddly enough, that came when the team decided to wear their pant legs up high, just like Tommy for his birthday. That game, the offense exploded, scoring 10 runs in a singular inning. So they decided to keep this high Sox style the rest of the season, and they finally started to string wins together, allowing them to capture the division crown for a 3rd straight year.
Soft shot, it goes through, game over. And they're behaving like a team that has won the Central Division for a 3rd time.
During September, the Indians played their best baseball, but still entered the playoffs as underdogs, facing the reigning World Series champion New York Yankees in the first round. A team loaded with stars top to bottom, and to start off, their offense was more dangerous.
1 on, 2 out. Now the 0-2 to O'Neill is smoked to center. Grissom back. Back to back to back. And an 8-6 New York lead.
Their pitching staff shined brighter.
Dead red high again, and Williams with a check swing to end it.
Putting them just 4 outs away from advancing, and with the game's best closer on the mound, the series looked done and dusted, or so they thought.
Into right field, well hit. Track, roll,
Alomar Jr.'s late home run brought life back to Jacobs Field, and following a scoreless top half in the 9th, the game was theirs for the taking.
Little flare off the bat of Grissom, falling in a hurry, base hit.
After the number 9 hitter flipped the lineup over, Bip Roberts bunted him into scoring position, giving the team 2 opportunities to drive him in, but in reality, they only needed 1. The Indians left it late to steal Game 4, but in the winner-take-all matchup, they made sure to get their business done early.
Williams back over his hand, and the Indians take a 2-0 lead. Through the left side, Ramirez makes it 3-0 Cleveland. Into right field for O'Neill. Alomar tags and comes to the plate. Strong throw, but not in time.
With 4 runs off Andy Pettitte, the Indians were able to hang on to take the series.
Celebrate!
The Indians may have won 13 less games than the year before, but this time their season extended past the first round, a testament to just how important it is to enter the playoffs playing your best brand of baseball.
Center field, well hit. Brady Anderson at the track, at the wall. He won't get this one. To the shortstop, pass Porta into center. Here comes Tomey, and the Indians take a 7th-inning lead. That's well hit in the air to right. Track, wall, gone. And the Indians take a 1-0 11th-inning lead.
The teams may have had contrasting regular seasons than the year before, but in similar fashion, the underdog prevailed.
Strike 3 called, and the Indians are headed back to the World Series.
Heading into the playoffs, the Indians were the worst-ranked team, but now stood 4 wins away from achieving baseball's ultimate prize. Their final test would be the Florida Marlins, another group no one believed could make it this far. It was a battle of 2 outcasts, and it proved to be an evenly matched bout, trading wins through the first 6 to set up the decisive Game 7 in Florida.
Our goal is to win the World Series. If it happens, that's great. If it doesn't, it won't be because we didn't give it everything we had.
And Fernandez with a liner into center for a base hit. Tomey scores. Grissom is right behind him. It's 2-0 Cleveland.
Tony Fernandez opened the scoring early for the Indians with a 2-run single, while rookie Jarrett Wright dazzled on the mound.
Breaking ball got him. First strikeout for Wright.
By the end of his night, Wright had gone 6 1/3 strong innings before handing the lead to his bullpen, which continued to keep the doors shut, allowing the Indians to stay in control heading into the bottom of the 9th. And with just 3 outs left, preparation for their victory began.
I decided to go to the bathroom and I saw a bunch of champagne moving from one side to another, trying to prepare for the celebration.
They were building the stage and they were putting the plastic over the lockers, and I remember thinking, not yet, not yet.
Trophies in our locker room. Biggest jinx ever.
A line drive over short. It falls softly in there for a leadoff hit.
Then Charles Johnson put men on the corners.
It drops for a hit. Alou is on his way to third. Ramirez has no play. Runners at the corners with 1 out.
The Indians desperately needed a strikeout or a ground ball, but Craig Counsell was able to lift it deep enough in right field to score the game-tying run.
Makes the catch. Tagging is Alou. Game 7 of the World Series is tied.
When Alou crossed home plate, all the momentum had been swayed in their favor, especially as another rally formed in the bottom of the 11th.
Hit hard through the middle for a leadoff hit. Maggie Diaz. And Counsell punches it to the right side. Fernandez hasn't gone through it. Bonilla will try for third. Ramirez up with it, but there's no play on it.
The usual steady glove of Fernandez failed to come up when it mattered most, putting the winning run just 90 feet away, and with that, setting up one of the most pivotal at-bats in MLB history.
The 0-1 pitch. A liner off Nagy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series.
In 1995, the Indians had arguably the greatest offense the game has ever seen. In 1996, they led the league in wins, and in 1997, they got hot at the right time. Yet each season ended in the same disappointing fashion. At the heart of their struggles was the missing presence of a true ace in the rotation, someone they could rely on to get at least 7 solid innings. They tried their best to acquire one in Curt Schilling at the deadline in '97. However, with the deal accepted by both teams, Schilling vetoed the deal. But to their luck, another ace was on the trade market, Pedro Martinez. In 1997, he broke out, tossing a sub-2 ERA en route to his first Cy Young award. With him added to the fold, there would be no stopping the Indians, but Hart decided to pass.
We had an opportunity to trade for Pedro during that winter of 97, 98.
The asking price was Bartolo Colon, who's a young prospect. They didn't know how good he was going to come out. And Jarrett Wright.
At the time, Wright was a 21-year-old rookie who pitched terrifically in their World Series run. Now, hindsight is always 20/20, but passing on this move proved to be the wrong decision, as they were bounced from the playoffs for the 4th straight year.
A bouncer out in front of the plate. Rivera pounces on it. On to the World Series.
Then, in 1999, Pedro made them pay.
And the 1-2 pitch to Baines is strike 3 called, and Harold knew it.
Now the payoff pitch. A swing and a miss. Martinez strikes out Roberts to end the inning.
And strike three called. Inning is over.
In Game 5 of the divisional round, the offenses shined as both scored 8 runs by the 5th. But with Pedro emerging from the bullpen and tossing 6 no-hit innings, another season went up in flames.
Down 2-0, the Boston Red Sox have come storming back, and they are in the American League Championship Series.
It was starting to become a growing trend for the Indians. Shine in the regular season, then self-destruct in the playoffs. But in 2000, they weren't even able to make it that far, missing the postseason on the final day. And with many key players leaving or entering into their 30s, the 2001 season was starting to feel like the beginning of the end for their contention window. This was symbolized by the end of their sellout streak. From June 12, 1995 to April 4, 2001, the Indians sold out Jacobs Field 455 consecutive times. But as with most good things, it all has to come to an end at some point. For the Indians, it was the 2001 season. Following another early playoff exit, they fell 14 games below 500 in 2002. Their only regular left from the title contending days was 35-year-old Omar Vizquel, and Hart, the mastermind behind the organization, had since moved on to Texas. It was officially the end of an era in Cleveland. Few teams have shined as bright as the 1990s Indians, yet their dynasty ended without a World Series trophy. Was it Hart's fault for not keeping the team together or acquiring an ace? Was it on the players for faltering under the pressure? Or was it due to the misumpired games during the 1995 World Series? Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you enjoyed, please consider subscribing. We're almost at 30,000, and that would be pretty sick. Also, if you would like to learn about another Cleveland team filled with talent that came up agonizingly close, then check out my video on the 2016 World Series by clicking on your screen.